Hello everybody, welcome to TìandTarot, or welcome back to TìandTarot if you've been here before. So today's reading is all about an action that you took in the past that is now having an impact on your present. So it's changing your fate a little bit, it's adapting your path, and it's all because you did something way back when that's basically coming home to roost now. So today we have 4 piles for you to pick from for this reading. We have pile 1, 2, 3 and 4. You can pick your pile in many different ways, either based on the energy of the pile, the crystal or object on top of the pile, the number of the pile, the number in the timestamps below, or based on the zodiacs in the description box below. If you do like to pick your pile with crystals, we'll get into those now. So for pile 1 we have some aquamarine. For pile 2 we have some green phantom quartz, or as some people know it, a ghost cluster. For pile 3 we have a fluorite moon with some druzy in the middle as well. And for pile 4 we have some amethyst. You know the routine, guys. Once you picked your pile, there will be a timestamp in the description box below for you to find your reading more easily, and I will meet you there. Bye. Okay, hello my pile 1s, welcome to your reading. So you chose the aquamarine, and these are your tarot cards. We are also going to get some oracle cards for you, but let's go through these first. So first up we have the 7 of Pentagrams, the Judgment card, the Queen of Swords. These are like slightly holographic cards, so the camera is fighting for her life right now. But next up we have the Tower card. And lastly we have the Ace of Swords. So I think the action you probably took a while ago is you decided to listen to your higher self. You trusted your gut, trusted your intuition. You sort of, I suppose, turned inward for advice as well as upward, with that Queen of Swords sort of pointing the sword in the sky, looking up for higher or divine guidance with the butterfly as well. And we also get that same imagery from the Judgment card. So you probably took some higher power advice as well as your own inner advice or higher self advice, and did something a little bit destructive to something going on in your life, an aspect of your life, you know, kind of rained down a little bit of chaos. And I think you destroyed something. The way it worked, the way it had an impact on you, you changed it and rebuilt it from the ground up yourself. And I think this thing was either like a generational curse or a toxic way of thinking or acting or interacting with your family. Family is coming to mind the most here. But you completely changed something. You pioneered your own way of doing things. You stopped the generational curse, the toxic dynamic going on, and you made it something different and better. And with the Tower card there, we've got that all-seeing eye at the top of the tower, which could be higher powers watching you, but I also think it can mean intentional chaos. You knew it was coming, or you knew it was going to happen, or you knew you were going to do something to essentially cause this big shift, this big change, because it was only a matter of time. Like, if you're sitting in the top of that tower and the tower's on fire and you know the first floor is hot and it's, you know, it's rising and it's coming to the second floor and the third floor and you're in the fourth floor, you know it's only a matter of time before it gets to you, so you have to act. And so I think you had a plan and you did something that completely changed the way that your life was heading, because you changed the whole way that you interacted with something, your whole mindset around something. You shifted your perspective completely. You turned to yourself for advice and you built a brand new system of doing things, a brand new way, all by yourself. So let's get some more context here with some oracle cards. So I have stagnation and fear in reverse. I also have the ocean, depth, darkness, and the unknown. And pretty on theme with your cards, we now have shell, eternity, protection, safety. And then we also have thief in reverse with robbed, loss, theft, physical or emotional. And then we also have talking shit as well. So for more context on this situation, this was definitely emotional. We've got a lot of like water sign imagery. So we've got ocean, we've got shell. So this was a big deal to you emotionally. And when we have that theft card sort of asking if it was physical or emotional, we know it's emotional. And we have this fetal position coming up quite a few times in the fear card, in the shell card. even in the Judgment card, you know, there's a person on their knees kind of begging. So there's a lot of fight or flight mode going on here, a desire for safety, also a lack of progress or growth being made, because you can associate the fetal position with fetuses, you know. So it's almost like if you had stayed in that space, if you hadn't made that big change, if you hadn't caused that chaos and started again, you never would have allowed yourself to grow out of this situation, to find out who you are. You always would have been this kind of fragmented person, because I think there was a dynamic of someone stealing your energy, stealing your light, being a bit of an energy vampire, kind of taking your emotional resources, draining your energy, keeping you trapped in this shell of the person you were versus who you could be, because they didn't want you out of that box. They didn't want you to shine. They didn't want people to see you. You were trapped in the tower, kept away in this shell, kept in this fetal position. And in doing this and in sort of changing that dynamic by either walking away from that situation where this person would talk down to you a lot, or maybe created this really toxic environment for a lot of people, not even just yourself. In doing that, that's what allowed you to kind of come out of this shell and start swimming freely. Like, you got to explore so much more emotional depth in your world and so much more emotional liberation, because you were no longer afraid to do the things that felt authentic to you or made you feel good, through fear that people are going to criticize you or put you down for it or make you feel bad about it. So it's almost like you could explore this ocean with a carefree, and the ocean being your emotions, with this carefree sort of authentic way of being, no longer kind of curled up in this shell, but now swimming free. And also, I think as well, it's kind of like, as I said, you took things down and built them back up in a different way. With the stagnation, there's like half of it and then a leg, you know, and I feel like that was you not fitting into whatever this box was, whatever this dynamic was, and so you weren't fully formed, you weren't fully yourself. But that's because you needed to kind of become this mermaid. You needed a complete shift of the way things worked. You could walk through water, but it's easier to swim, right? It's easier with fins, it's easier with a tail. So you kind of needed to change the way everything worked. And I think that meant expressing yourself differently, as well as walking away from this problem, creating that complete shift of how you handle situations and what you allow in your life and what you put up with, as well as how you deal with people like that. And so it's having this effect now where you're almost getting more freedom because of it, especially in terms of not being afraid anymore. We've got that fear in reverse. You're not afraid to express yourself now. You don't put yourself in that fetal position. You don't put yourself in that box anymore that you were kind of forced into. You've reclaimed what was stolen from you, but you've also changed it. So it's not just taking back this authenticity that was taken from you, it's also expressing it a little bit differently now. So that way you're protected as well as being able to express yourself. That's also why we've got the shell there. With the protection, safety, you're protected and safe. You're safe to explore the depth of your emotions. You're safe to explore unknown connections, unknown experiences, unknown futures, because of this change in the way that you approach people who talk down to you, because you no longer have a tolerance for it. And you also no longer take it on, like, to yourself. You no longer internalize what's been said to kind of keep pushing you deeper into the shell. It just kind of rolls off your back and now you keep moving. You recognize that those people who do those things are not worth your time, they're not valuable to you, their opinion is worth nothing. Unless it's someone super close to you who you can trust is a trustworthy person, their opinion is meaningless to you. So now you're not affected by those things, which means you can reclaim what's yours and keep it. You can reclaim this emotional fulfillment, this authenticity, this happiness, this fearlessness, this bravery. Something else I wanted to add that just kind of popped into my mind, especially with all this kind of ocean imagery, is it's kind of like how initially when we started out fishing and things, pre-capitalism, all good. After capitalism, not so good. And all the sea creatures in the sea, they didn't care. However, now what we're seeing is because we've been so destructive, like they were almost generous with the fact that they didn't care that we fished there, you know. No orcas were trying to push our boats over or attack us or anything, because they were like, yeah, you get your food, we'll get our food, who cares? But we've caused so much damage to the bottom of the ocean with the nets, with the overfishing, everything. The oil spills, just the lot of it, the nuclear weapons, like all of it. We've caused so much damage that now, because we took advantage of the ocean's kind of generosity, the fact that it seems like this bountiful, ever-giving resource of life that we can take, now we're starting to see those animals fight back and try and push us out of the water. You know, orcas attacking boats, trying to stop them fishing, trying to stop them causing destruction. All they know is that when humans get on a boat and come into the ocean, we cause damage. So they're trying to get us out, right? It's kind of like that. Like, you're almost the orca in this situation, where it's like, of course you're going to be trusting when someone comes into your life. Of course you're going to be open emotionally. You're going to be kind. You're going to be ready to help them with things. And people can take advantage of that kindness, that openness. And so you've had to close it because of this destructive nature of the people who kind of reach in and take everything when you have your heart on your sleeve. So it's not that you aren't those things anymore, it's just that you've had to change your approach and be a little bit more guarded. But in that guardedness, or in that kind of, it's not even guardedness, you're just spotting the evil people from the good people straight away. But with that, you can now move more freely because you feel more confident that when the time comes, if you need to stand up for yourself, you will do it. And you also feel more confident about identifying who's a good fit for you, you know? Who's going to steal all of your resources and who is just going to take what they need and then give back to you in the same kind of way. Okay, voiceover Katie here because I accidentally deleted my outro, but that was your reading part 1. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe, and if you were drawn to any other piles, feel free to check those out now. If not, I hope to see you here next week on Tuesday and Thursday for another reading on TìandTarot. Bye. Okay, hello my pile 2s, welcome to your reading. So you chose the Phantom Quartz or the Green Ghost Cluster, however you know it as. That's what it is. This is my favourite. I've always wanted one of these. But anyways, let me put it here. Okay, let's get into your cards first and foremost, then we'll take a look at some oracle cards for you as well. So firstly we have the King of Swords. Because these cards are like holographic, the camera is really struggling. Then we have the Five of Wands. It's like, whoa, this is trippy, what's happening here? And then we have the Six of Wands as well. Ooh, love that. Okay, something I'm going to do for you is actually get your oracle cards first before I interpret the tarot cards, because I can see so clearly what's happened that I don't want to just sort of be like, well, this is what happened, and then not have anything else to kind of go into detail about. So I want to see some more context around this situation before I go into more detail. But you've got passion. Oh, you've got regret. Wow, this is crazy, guys. You've got B. So work, productivity, cooperation. And it's really tying in with your tarot cards. And then you also have the Sun. So passion, power, positivity. The synchronicities coming up here are just crazy. Okay, so then we have dodging bullets and clout hungry. So blocking negativity, escaping crazy people, protected by haters. Says anything, does anything, makes shit up, dramatic. And then we also had divination abuser in reverse as well, which is very interesting. I know it's in reverse, but I'm gonna pop it upright and underneath this card just so I can see the words to refer back to as I tell you what I'm seeing. There's quite a lot going on here. So something to note is that the past thing you did was not give up. So there's something that you've had quite a bit of competition in life. It could literally be somebody specific who has tried to compete with you in your life, like your whole life. And like, let's say anytime you got a short haircut, they went and got a short haircut. Or anytime you started a new passion and you were like, oh, I'm gonna learn how to draw, they were like, yeah, I'm gonna learn how to draw too. Like, it's something like that, where there's someone who's always wanting to be in competition with you, or you're just finding that you're always in competition in situations where you have to compete for the resources you want or the opportunities you want. So doesn't necessarily have to be a specific person, but either way, lots of competition. And something key about an action you took in the past is that you handled these competitions with grace. You were genuinely passionate about the thing you were fighting for. You weren't doing it for ulterior motives to outshine the other person. You were doing it because you were genuinely passionate about it. You were going after opportunities you genuinely wanted. You were interested in hobbies that you genuinely found interesting. There wasn't any sort of like underhand kind of, well, I want this thing because they want it and I just want to make sure that I'm better at it than them. There was none of that from your side. And so because you went into this with the best of intentions, you handled things with grace, you kept yourself to yourself. This has caused so many different things. So one, I feel for some reason that you're in this now. So it's either that it's caused this or it will cause this for you guys down the line. But I feel like it will lead to a lot of success for you, a lot of recognition. You're going to hit the peak of your success because of these things. And I feel like with that regret card, that could be you kind of regretting going after everything that you've wanted, because it always seems like there's someone who wants to get it too, or seems to kind of be against you. And so you're like, oh God, should I just give up now and abandon this and that kind of thing? So there's kind of that internal feeling going on a little bit, but I don't think it overpowers you. You still stick to what you want to do, and for that reason it leads to a lot of recognition for your efforts, a lot of success, a lot of valor. But I also think that regret card is coming in because anyone who comes into competition with you because of this past action that has paved the way for you to continue with that, determined energy, that determined streak you have, anyone who's in competition with you really regrets it. They end up regretting it because you're so successful with the Sun card, with the King card, with the Six of Wands. There's no way that they could have beat you in these situations. So you're just such a proactive person who always goes after what you want. You put so much work into it, like so much. You push yourself harder than anybody else out there. You're a very diligent, productive, hard worker, and that leads to your success, as well as that combined with your passions. And so no one really stands a chance when they try and go into competition with you. So the result of this is not only your success, but also it makes it really easy for you to spot people who are doing things underhanded. That's why we had divination abuser in reverse, kind of taking advantage of situations, or trying to use them too much, or trying to abuse a situation to win. That's why we were getting that, because when people do those things, it's really obvious, and that makes it really clear to you, okay, this is not someone I want to associate with, or that is someone I'm going to try and avoid. Or, as I said, you're someone who takes that kind of, okay, I'm going to keep myself to myself, high road. You don't really care what other people try or try not to do about you. You're just doing your own thing and you're ignoring them. And the fact that they're so obvious about wanting to just win against you in certain situations means that it's really easy for you to dodge those bullets, spot those people, recognize that the things they do mean nothing. They say anything, do anything to try and win against you, and for that reason, they mean nothing to you because they have no integrity, they have no true passion or desire behind anything they're doing. It's just driven by hate. And on top of that, with dodging bullets, you get to see, okay, these are the people I do not want to interact with, and you dodge those bullets. You're almost protected by their negative actions because they're so obvious with it that you know to avoid it. It's almost doing you like a massive favour because it's so clear. It's like, when you just meet someone and you've literally like never spoken to them, you just say hi, and straight away they don't like you. And they don't want to talk to you, they don't want to say hi to you, and it's like, oh, okay. It's always at that moment, like, there's been so many people that I've met that are like this, and it's like, when it's someone who knows nothing about you, but they just don't like you immediately, totally fine. So many people get rubbed the wrong way by people's energies, people's vibes, that's totally fine, but it just means that their dislike of you or their opinion of you is invalid, because they have nothing to go off of from that. Whereas if it's someone really close and personal to you, that's when it's like, if they're mad at you for something, or if you've done something wrong, that's when you take it to heart, because they know you, and they know you like inside and out, so their opinion is more valuable. So for you, it's almost like these people that try and do anything underhanded to try to win against you in this weird competition that they've sort of put themselves into alongside you does nothing, because you know their opinion means nothing to you, because these are just like not people you would associate with, or people that know you well in any kind of way. And I think it's interesting you picked this like phantom quartz, because it's kind of like this energy of people just wanting to be in competition with you haunts you. Like, it follows you wherever you go. But the thing about hauntings and ghosts and things like that is that they lack power. You know, they're not a physical problem. They're not like a physical entity that could do anything. And so for that reason, it's almost like your action of ignoring them makes them powerless, and you just keep doing you. So this past action you've sort of taken of just embodying this type of person who does not give a shit about criticism from invalid sources, who is passionate about what they want and driven towards it, means that you always succeed in your endeavours, especially for the future. You're giving Sagittarius energy for sure. But that was your reading pile 2. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe. And if you were drawn to any other piles, feel free to check those out now. If not, I hope to see you here next week on Tuesday and Thursday for another reading on TìandTarot. Bye! Okay, hello my pile 3s, welcome to your reading. So you chose this Fluorite moon crystal, which I think I'm gonna put like sideways, because I mean I could put it over here, I guess, rather than in the middle. I'll put it there for you guys. Okay, so before we get into any oracle cards, I want to look at your tarot cards first. So you have the 5 of Pentacles in reverse. You have the 5 of Cups. Wow, lots of 5s. Okay. You have the 7 of Swords. My gosh, big energy going on here. Okay. You've got the 8 of Swords. Wow. Wheel of Fortune. Yeah. And you have the Lovers. You've experienced a lot of loss or disappointment, especially in the realms of love. It can also potentially a little bit of cheating could be an undercurrent theme here as well. But just in general, loss or disappointment in love, it could be in many different ways. So it could be loss of family members, loss of friendships, loss or lack of romantic relationships, maybe cheating, infidelity, you know, that kind of thing in relationships, you know, kind of being let down by a partner, or let down by a friend, or let down by a family member, where you've had to walk away and it's almost felt like you've been shut out, especially emotionally, but shut out from love, basically. However, this is definitely a misinterpretation of the situation, because with the 5 of Cups, there's a little bridge in the background there, which is your opportunity to heal and recover from the situation and move on. With the 7 of Swords, we're seeing a proactiveness towards that step, towards taking what you've got left and moving on. And then we've also got the 8 of Swords, where this person is blind to the truth of this situation. You know, they feel vulnerable, they feel helpless, they feel tied up and like there's nothing they can do about it, when actually they could very easily get out of their situation, because they're surrounded by 7 swords that could help them untie all of these things. So there's a sense of, while in the past it may have felt this way, like you were almost doomed in love, 1, that's not the truth, but 2, you're going to be seeing that that's not the truth coming up soon. So because of all of these feelings of like being let down, feeling disappointed, it's almost like, to rebalance the scale, you're going to feel this massive influx of love and positive relationships in your life, especially with the Wheel of Fortune there, sort of talking about this reversal of luck. It's not that you were unlucky, it's that you felt unlucky. Maybe you have been unlucky in love, in, you know, family situations, friendships, partnerships, but it's all about to change for you because of something you did. And it could be your proactiveness, as I said with that 7 of Swords, taking what you've got and leaving, like taking what you've got left, what people kind of left you with, taking those 2 upward cups in the 5 of Cups, taking those 5 swords in the 7 of Swords, and walking away from this situation victorious. You're learning to heal, to recover, to be more optimistic for the future, and to recognize that if people try to sabotage your love or your success or your enjoyment or happiness, that's more of a reflection on them than it is on you and your luck and your life and your future. But let's get some more context anyways with some oracle cards just to see some more on this situation. Okay, you've got a few cards. Yes, literally. So you got protection, first of all. Sorry, I'm shuffling them off screen because I saw a spider in my room, so I don't want to sit on the floor. So I'm away from the camera, so I'm shuffling over there. Anyways, protection. We have strength. Yes, literally. Bitch, I'm gonna talk to you about that. And then we've got stillness. Ooh, love that. Okay, so before I get any more oracle cards, I was gonna get them all, but we're doing it this way. So you are 100% protected. You do have good luck. It's just sometimes you just deal with the shittiest people for some reason. And I often find as well, if you feel like you've had a really bad sort of start in life, especially in terms of love, if you feel like family, friendships, partnerships have never really worked out for you, I personally feel like the way the universe works is kind of like you get all the bad shit in the beginning, and if you get a load of bad shit, you get a load of good shit for the rest of your life. Or you can have a life where it's more mixed, evenly woven in there. Like you've got the good times, the bad times, good times, bad times, ups and downs, like a continuous wave. Or you can have that extreme where it's like tsunami of bad and then tsunami of good. Like there's no in between. Those are the two types of lives you're gonna get, okay? So you've just got the kind of that tsunami life, you know? But you're definitely protected on this journey, especially in terms of love. You are protected in love, even if it doesn't feel like it. You 100% are, especially your future. With that strength card, it takes resilience to look at a situation. This person is still, they're looking at what they've lost. They're thinking about it, they're contemplating. They are just about to make the decision to fill up those two cups by crossing this bridge, but they're thinking right now. They're in this stillness period of their emotions, evaluating everything, looking at everything through a clearer lens, or trying to at least. You have the strength and resilience to pull yourself away from this haze that is telling you you have bad luck in love, or that things aren't going to work out for you in the future, because you know deep down, if you listen to your gut and you trusted your higher self, you know that's not true. You know how lucky in love you are or will be. You feel it. It's like an energy. Even if your experiences don't align with it, you feel it. I also think as well, pets could be a really good idea for you if you do have pets. Just because of the strength card, she's got that connection to the animals at her feet there as well. It also talks about being grounded as well as sort of airy-fairy as well. You know, like, have dreams, have hopes, have visions for the future. Stay grounded as well, but don't feel like it's one or the other, like you have to resign yourself to accepting like love doesn't work for you or things like that, because you're almost falling too much into this grounded phase. You need to meet somewhere in the middle with like, things will work out for me, but they're not working out right now, and that's okay. And kind of try to accept that period of stillness, that moment of in between where you're stuck between these two pulling opposing forces. Okay, I'm gonna get some more oracle cards for you guys off screen, as I said. Oh my gosh, yes, I was literally thinking of a butterfly, but you've got butterfly. I was gonna talk about butterflies as my analogy for this reading, but anyway, butterfly, transition, transformation, shifting. I'll talk about it now that you've got it. And then you also had air, breath, life, travel. It's kind of airy fairy energy that we were kind of talking about. And let me get you your last oracle cards as well, and we'll talk about all of these. Okay, so we literally got bad karma in reverse, which is literally what I was saying. We have carless, so no car, repo, car issues in reverse. I actually think this is more about travel. And you've got that stillness card over here because, of course, cars relate to like the chariot, vehicles, movement, speed. And we've got unbothered. So the way I'm seeing this is a few different things. So firstly, as I did say, it's almost like you feel like your luck is reversing where now you're going to get this good luck. But actually you've had good luck this whole time. It's just you've dealt with shitty people. But your luck and your like love life is well intact. But also it's kind of like this flip where it's like you get a bunch of bad shit in the beginning. And then you get a bunch of good shit for the next half of your life, you know? So it's like your life is divided into this bad half and good half. And if you just stick it through, if you just make it to the end, you will see that. Because there's someone I know as well who had like such a bad time of it in the beginning and struggled in love and was feeling really down and kind of wanted to give up everything. And they just thought, no, like I'm not going to do that. Turned everything around, found the person of their dreams, they had a baby, they kicked their business off, they made bank, okay? So it's literally just a shift. If they had thought in that moment, okay, love's not for me, I give up now, they literally would not have got their dream life. But it was almost like the first half of their life was just real shit, and then the next half was just this absolute dream that you could only hope of. So it's lots of that kind of energy. With Carlos and Unbothered in reverse, you're very bothered by the speed of things. You're very bothered by the lack of movement, the stillness. This is a space that you actually need to get comfortable in. This feels really peaceful and serene, like this person has purposely climbed to the top of this boat to get a peaceful moment, to get this break and get this breather space. And I don't think you realise at the moment how valuable and enjoyable that breathing space can be. Because I think you want to speed rush it. You want the support already. You want the friends. You want the family. You want the partner. You want to get there. You're done kind of waiting. And it bothers you. And that is absolutely fine. That is absolutely fine to feel that and sit in that. You are well entitled to be bothered. However, to make the journey more smooth, more comfortable for you, more enjoyable, learn to breathe in that space. Don't be all like tight and wound up and when is it going to happen? Allow yourself to live. You're doing yourself a disservice by trying to force this pressure onto yourself to get there, to do it, to have it done. Just wait, just be patient. You know, you can't force love, it comes to you. So with this kind of air flowing energy, you need to go with the flow. Staying grounded at the same time with that strength card is what's really going to help you feel comfortable with the waiting. So the grounded part of you is what will acknowledge these feelings of you being bothered, of you wanting it to speed up. The grounded part of you acknowledges that. The airy butterfly part of you is what allows you to enjoy that space. Because that's the part of you that's going to get carried away with the future, with your hopes. That's the part of you that's going to be really open and authentic to new love coming in. That's the trusting part of you. That's the part of you that is going to look forward to these future connections. We've also got this butterfly here, and butterflies are about changes, transitions. It's kind of like you're in this transition phase of shifting from that kind of darker place where you just felt like everything wasn't working out for you to this much brighter place, but you're in that awkward, uncomfortable, shifting caterpillar cocoon phase, and you're about to burst out of that. So because of your own strength, your own resilience, this action you made, this choice you made to wait for what is better for you, even if that's uncomfortable, even if that bothers you, that choice you've made has allowed the space you needed for good things to come in next, especially in love, for good things to come in next in your future, because you made the choice to be strong, to walk away from what doesn't work for you in love, and to wait for what does. Or go out there and find and seek what does. Although with the Carlos and stillness, I am getting you waiting more so than going and seeking. But yeah, that is what I'm seeing for you, pile 3. So, I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you were drawn to any other piles, feel free to check those out now. If not, I hope to see you here next week on Tuesdays and Thursdays for another reading on TìandTarot. Bye! Okay, hello my pile 4s, welcome to your reading. So you chose this really cute amethyst. I'm pretty sure this is like pink amethyst or something, but I forgot, so I'm calling it amethyst. But anyways, let's get into your tarot cards before we get into your oracle cards. So you have the 8 of Cups. By the way, these cards are very like holographic-y, so the camera is really struggling, so that's why it's all like shifty. But we've got the 9 of Cups here, and then we also have Temperance. Ooh, love that. So something you did in the past was choose to put yourself first. you walked away from what didn't serve you. Why have all of the piles been this? But this is literally it. Like, you've walked away from what doesn't serve you anymore. Like, even if it was a small thing, like, it doesn't have to be this big catastrophic thing where it's like you walked away from a very obviously bad situation. It can even be a small thing where you're just like, in the past maybe you had like a really amazing job, but you thought it's not for me, and you left it and you went to another job, and now it's years later to the present day, and that the repercussion of that is catching up to you, where you have this really great outlook where you can look at your life and go, okay, this needs work, this doesn't, this is what I'm happy with, this is what I'm not happy with, here's how I can change that. And because of this fantastic outlook you have and the choice you've made to do that in the past, the past moments where you've chose to walk away from situations where you just think if you walked away from that or changed it in some sort of way, it could improve your future. Your choice to do that has meant that you have created the best possible outcome for yourself. There's so much success in your future, especially when it comes to the self, prioritizing you, creating a world that you enjoy, that you love to interact with, that you're passionate about. And there's a balance to it. So it's really good, because it's like if you had these thorns kind of in your side, weighing you down, you would be able to identify those thorns, say, oh, those shouldn't be there, take them, pull them out, and stand up straight again and rebalance yourself. Most people struggle with that. You know, they don't have that ability to identify what those thorns are, and then they build up and up and up before they know it, and then they're drowning. You know, they're being weighed down completely on one side. So it's fantastic that you have this outlook and that you've taken action in the past to remove those thorns so that you can stand up and be the best person that you could possibly be for yourself, to create the future you want as much as you can within your own means. Let's get some more context with some extra cards. Oh, we have rain. So we have renewal, cleansing, clarity. Yeah, I feel like that ties in with what I was just sort of saying. So let's put this here. My cards are actually quite big, and my setup is quite small. I'm hoping to change it soon. I actually have this table. It's like a little round table, but I did one reading on it, and it was really good because I got to have like as many cards as I want, take up all the space. It just gave me a better sort of layout. Okay, we have butterfly in reverse. So this is transition, transformation, and shifting. And yeah, anyways, I just really need to get that table back out and use that, because then I can do longer readings for you guys. You got a lot of cards here. So you have spite, you have surrender in reverse, forgiveness in reverse, overwhelm in reverse, and you have appreciation in reverse. Before I get into your other oracle cards, I really just want to analyse these because you've got quite a few. So there's quite a few messages to kind of get through here. But one thing I'm seeing with the butterfly is usually butterflies are about change. And it's in reverse here. I'm seeing this in two ways. So one, I think you're not in that caterpillar cocoony phase. You're the butterfly. You are this like beautiful being already. You know, you've pretty much perfected yourself as much as you can. Like, you are already this really lovely, beautiful butterfly because of these actions you've always taken to clear out those thorns, to clear out what doesn't work for you. Not only that, but when there is something to change, it's not this massive, transformative, uncomfortable thing, because it's not like you're removing 1,000 thorns. You're removing one. You know, because you've already cleared all the rest. It's almost like you're well organised, well prepared for any thorns that come up in your life that you don't want to deal with, because it's just the one thing that you have to focus on removing. So there aren't really big changes for you because of that. That's how this has kind of impacted your future. There's no real big changes, and you're already in this beautiful phase of your life. The second thing is that when people do you wrong, you have this perfect balance, especially with that Temperance card, of being able to be vulnerable, be authentic, but also stand up for yourself, and meet fire with fire if needed. And so when these sort of negative people or negative things or thorns crop up in your life, you're not going to get comfortable or familiar with how that thorn feels in your side and just put up with it. You're going to remove it. Like, you're not going to just succumb to it and let people walk all over you and do what they want to do. you're gonna fight back. And you're a very like kind of closed book in that sense. Like there will be no forgiveness, no going back. You know, you take that fawn out and you throw it away. Don't even think about it ever again. You don't feel the need to have people in your life or situations in your life who don't fit you perfectly, who don't match your butterfly energy. You just don't feel the need for it. Like it's giving like you don't need to, this is gonna sound weird, but you don't need to co-parent, you just need to parent. Hopefully that spoke to someone out there, because that's what's coming to my mind for some reason, that was coming in. Because with that appreciation card, it's like, even if you're not emotionally connected, you appreciate the efforts people are doing, but it's like, why can I not have someone who puts in the effort and we have that emotional connection? So it's kind of like that, like, why would you stop at glass half full? You want the glass fully full. You want everything, or you don't want it. So it's kind of like that. You now get to choose situations that fully fill your glass, and if they don't, you don't want it. And it's perfect that came out over the 8 of Cups, because that's exactly what I was saying. And then we've got that overwhelm in reverse with the rain. So I find this really interesting because, as I said, when thorns come up in your life, it's not this big, hard, difficult change, because it's just one, because you've cleared all the rest. You just take it out and it's no problem. So with rain, when there are emotional difficulties, emotional turmoil, you don't view it as a bad thing. You view it as a natural part of human existence, where you've got all these different emotions going on. Sometimes you'll feel happy, sometimes sad, sometimes angry, and all of those are valid and okay to feel at the same time whenever they come in. So when we have rain, rather than feel really shitty about having moments that make you cry, you view it as a period to reflect on the situation, on what you do want to accept in your life, what you don't, what you do like, what you don't. You see it as an opportunity to kind of give yourself a cleanse, like release almost, and you see it as a cathartic experience more so than like a negative one. So you don't deal with emotions in this really like trapped up, stored up, big explosion kind of way, almost like a dysfunctional way. You deal with it in a very, very mature kind of enlightened way, where you just go with the flow and it doesn't weigh on you, it doesn't linger. It's just a nice bit of it's a nice bit of rain, you know. It's not this massive tumultuous storm, it's just a little drizzle. So if there are any sort of like things that you're struggling with, it's easy for you to overcome them. It's not this big difficult change that's uncomfortable, okay? And there was just a few more oracle cards that I wanted to get for you before we end your reading. Okay, we've got lots of different things. So we have Kiss and Booty, then we've got Moves in Silence, then we've got Drama Starter in reverse, and then we've got Always Partying in reverse. I think because you've made these decisions in your past to walk away from what doesn't serve you, what doesn't bring balance and ease to your life, what doesn't fill your cup up to its fullest, you find it very easy to identify and pay attention to the room, but identify people or situations or opportunities that don't fit with you. Like, let's say if you were like applying to a job, the job seemed really great from the listing, you put loads of work in to get it, and then you got there and you realised, oh, they're offering me way lower salary than they actually said they were. They don't have the credentials they said they did. Their office culture is actually quite bad and they've got loads of negative reviews. Because you moved in silence, you weren't accusatory, you weren't like interrogating them, you were just figuring things out, observing, working it out for yourself. You're able to identify, okay, that's one of those opportunities that doesn't fit with me, and move away from that. If you're on a date with somebody and they're saying that all these great things, but then little red flags start to crop up, you're not necessarily going to get, emotionally explosive or like anything like that. You're going to play the silent long game, pay attention, let them talk and let them reveal things about themselves so that you can identify, okay, is this person going to fill my cup up? Yes or no? And then make your choice from there. From that, you kind of give off this energy of someone who is quite reserved, quite at peace by themselves, who is also quite healthy, lives a healthy, good lifestyle, and because of that, you get to kind of have this really peaceful, calm, serene life. And you're also not influenced by false offerings of a full cup. So, for example, let's say you want your full cup filled with water and people are trying to fill it with flowers. It's just not going to work on you. So if someone is basically trying to fill your cup with false compliments, things they don't mean, flattery that basically is just there to make sure they get in with you rather than them actually meaning it. It doesn't work. You have such a keen eye on this because you're so good at identifying good opportunities from bad ones, because of all of these actions you've taken in the past to reflect on good and bad opportunities and act from there and act accordingly. Like, you're not insecure about your opinion. You're not insecure about trusting your gut. It's not like you have to go and consult like a bunch of people or a massive group before you make a decision. You just make it. You trust in yourself and in your own opinion. So you're able to stay silent, observe, make your choice. And you have no problem with that. So that's another impact on your future there from this situation. Because you were able to identify good and bad opportunities in the past, you've built yourself up to this perfect point where you really are everything you need. You've fulfilled your own cup almost, and you're ready to accept people who will fill your cup up 100%, or opportunities as well as people, but nothing less than that. And you're already in this beautiful butterfly phase. You're not in this uncomfortable caterpillar phase where you're trying to figure these things out and learn these learning opportunities, learn these curves in life. You already know them. You handle yourself really well, you handle your emotions well, you know what you want, and you've got this very balanced, tempered existence now because of that. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Pile 4. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe. And if you were drawn to any other piles, feel free to check those out now. If not, I hope to see you here next week on Tuesdays and Thursdays for another reading on TìandTarot.